read this over in the Hidden True Crime Reddit forum. I thought this was really interesting. A post on more Lauren nonsense. Lauren nonsense. All right, let me get myself there. All right, silence can be interpreted as support. I don't want to stay silent. Hi, everyone. Mindy Caldwell here. I have appeared several times on Mormon Stories podcast with John Dellon. I'm sorry, you guys. I don't know how to say that last name. Lauren Matthias, Megan Connor, and Dr. John remotely. I'll start by saying that I deeply value my friendship with Dr. Dellon and would never speak for him on this issue or any other. John is a sincere guy with a big heart, and Margie Dellon is one of the warmest, most genuine souls I've ever known. I adore them both. I've spent many hours in the Mormon Stories studio with John, Lauren, and Megan. I care about all of them. We have worked hard in our collaborations, and I'm proud of the episodes we have released. A little backstory on my relationship with Lauren and HTC. I told my friend Dr. D years ago that I've been doing a deep dive on the Daybell case, so he asked if I'd like to join him with the Matthiases on Mormon Stories to talk about it. I came prepared to those interviews with a binder full of detailed notes, and the others nicknamed me Binder Mindy. I have always relied on my trusty notes and deep research as a way to contribute to the conversations. I have been effusive about HTC in the past and have found value in much of their content. I have praised Lauren for her work ethic. The first time I met Lauren in person was at a trial in Boise. She and her friend Sarah generously allowed me to stay with them, for which I'm grateful. I saw Lauren's hustle and tenacity behind the scenes and was impressed by her. Outside of our collabs discussing the Daybell case, Visions of Glory, and Frank Hildebrandt, I have followed HTC's content less in recent years, mostly because of life getting busy and also just feeling drained from true crime in general. When I accepted John D's invitation a few months ago to join as a co-host for Lauren's personal story, I was unaware at the time of any of the drama behind the scenes. In retrospect, the timing of the interview raises concerns, but I will confirm that John has wanted to interview Lauren for a long time, and I was happy to participate. I sent a message to Lauren and Grayson shortly after the 9-hour live to extend my support. There were moments during the long live where things weren't quite adding up in my mind, but my message of support was mostly in response to the evident distress of the situation. Since then, I've spent many hours consuming content and sifting through information, including frequent visits to the subreddit. I appreciate what has been shared. It's a really good subreddit, you guys. My Mormon faith deconstruction has taught me that there is freedom and great value in learning to think critically. I spent the first 40 years of my life following the church path with gusto, and the past 11 years meticulously attempting to detangle a lifetime of conditioning. I have learned the importance of challenging confirmation biases and examining evidence despite devotion of loyalty to the subject of examination. I recognize that I only have a hangnail's worth of skin in this game. I don't produce my own content and keep a pretty low profile in general. I'm not a keeper of any damning information and don't know most of the people involved in this drama. The HTC rabbit hole started out as confusion and sadness several weeks ago. I had high hopes for the We Respond video as a way to bring clarity to the situation, but instead I was catapulted into an obsessive quest for more information. My metaphorical binder is bursting at the seams. Even considering the mounting pile of incredulous moments of discovery these past weeks, the copyright suit against Kresha and attempts to silence people talking about it is a line in the sand and led me to finally say something publicly. What the hell, you guys? very poor form and so incredibly disappointing. I think it's very telling that somebody that interviewed her on Mormon Stories is saying this. Down in the comments, people were thanking her. Thank you, Binder, Mindy. I especially appreciate you sharing the cognitive arc of watching the 9-hour marathon to today, as mine is very similar. And I've heard from many of you that it's very similar. This because nobody wants, you hear, stalker, and you freeze. You're like, oh my gosh, The suit against Crusha of all people is simply I don't understand it from every vantage. If she is trying to do damage control, that is the single worst move she could have contemplated, much less engaged. I can have a good deal of compassion for someone who is obviously spitting out, feeling shame and terrified of their public perception, but that is entirely overshadowed by the horrible specter of future traumatizing a victim. Not just any victim, but the family that made HTC want it is what it is today, over photos literally given to them by the victim's family. It's just beyond any and every line of civility, decency, compassion, or care, and can only be seen, in my humble opinion, as sheer panic, selfishness, and complete disregard, if not disdain, for others. And I couldn't agree more. Lauren and John are so self-important, our dingo crew. They cannot see their situation as outsiders do. They should have hired a PR firm after the 9-hour video. Lauren should have owned up to whatever messages she's worried about, apologized, said she was going to spend some time with her family, and she could have come back with little damage. I agree. So I thought that was a little tea that was worth mentioning right up front. I think it's very interesting that the Mormon Stories is on this now. I want to do a live. I'm working on one, putting it together. I would love to have anybody that was in the Mormon faith. I'm going to reach out to Crusha and a few other people that I know. I don't really know Crusha, so I don't know if she will answer. But I'm going to reach out to some people that I know are ex-Mormons to try to do a panel for you guys, because I think it's fascinating, the whole Mormon spin and take, and I'm not convinced that she's not still Mormon. So that's what I plan on doing.
Behind the barn, there's a thicket, and if you listen late at night, you'll hear a cricket, and it sings a song, and I know the words